Story time with Daniel. I'll be continuing on from where we left off on camp. However, I would like to skip back a bit, just to catch up on where we were at when we left off. Property problems. It was like the weekend had never happened, Kendall thought when she got home from the theatre, kicked off her shoes and sank down onto the sofa. All evening, Jake had been friendly, considerate, and the perfect gentleman. The only physical contact between them had been when he placed his hand on her back to guide her through the crowd in the foyer. An action which had made her want to drag him into the nearest dark corner and kiss him senseless. He hadn't even kissed her goodnight. She shut her eyes and thought of how well they'd got on in Spain, and she couldn't believe he'd gone off her just like that. That's scandalous. Then she remembered how his eyes had lit up when she had arrived at the office that morning, how he'd kissed her so passionately. She shook her head. No, he hadn't gone off her. Another image flashed across her mind, the look on his face when she told him she was going to live in Spain. Of course, what a fool she was. That's why he'd turned cool towards her. But why would her move to Spain cause Jake to lose interest? He wasn't looking for a long-term relationship, so it shouldn't make any difference to him. Maybe he'd just like to be the one to call the shots and say when a relationship was finished. The ringing of the phone interrupted her thoughts. The cordless handset was on the coffee table by the sofa, where she'd left it after talking to Lindsay earlier. She reached out, picked it up and switched it on. Hello, Kendall Mackenzie speaking.
Hi, Candy, it's Pete. I was wondering where my mum's bracelet will be ready. When my mum's bracelet will be ready.
Heck, she'd forgotten all about Pete's mum's bracelet. Pete, I'm so sorry. I didn't get back from Spain until yesterday, but I will start on it this weekend. I promise.
Okay, no problem. It's still a couple of weeks before her birthday, anyway.
She heard some murmur in the background. Then Pete asked,
Emma wants to know if you enjoyed your trip to Spain.
She smiled. So Emma was with him. She had a feeling those two were well suited to each other. They've got similar voices. Tell her everything went okay. She knew that Emma wouldn't be satisfied with that answer. And next thing, her friend's voice came on the line.
I want to know all about you and Jake. How do you get on?
Kendall thought about the weekend. Laughing with Jake. Kissing him. Feeling his arms around her. We got on very well, thank you.
And?
And what?
And didn't he try to kiss you or anything?
Kendall hesitated.
I knew it!
Emma squealed.
Come on, tell me! What happened between you and him?
Nothing, Kendall said flatly. But I have got something to tell you. I'm moving to Spain. I'm going to buy a house over there.
You're what?
Emma's voice rose a pitch.
You're moving to Spain? But what about you and Jake?
There is no me and Jake.
Does he know you're going to Spain?
Kendall sighed. Emma was like a dog with a bone once she got an idea into her head. 10 minutes later, she finally put down the phone after promising to meet Emma after work the next day to fill her in with all the details. Jake turned off the shower and reached for a towel. Kendall had looked stunning that evening in a deep blue dress. As they walked into the theatre, he felt proud to be with her, wanted to hold her in his arms and tell everyone she was his. Except she wasn't his, was she? She'd been so swept off her feet by him that she decided to go live abroad, which didn't do his ego any good. He grimaced wryly as he rubbed himself dry with a towel. He was used to women clinging to him like a limpet to his arm, all starry-eyed. And here was Kendall calmly telling him that she was leaving the country in a few weeks' time without so much as a backward glance. And she'd only told him because she felt she had to. because he'd offered to make her job permanent. He wondered just when she had been planning to tell him. As she left for the airport, perhaps. But he couldn't get her out of her mind. His mind, even. He could see her, smell her perfume, hear her laugh. How he'd managed to get through the evening without kissing her, he'd never know. He glanced over at the phone, and the longing to hear her voice engulfed him. But he wasn't going to call her. Definitely not. She answered the phone on the 6th ring. Yes? She sounded sleepy. Kendall. Kendall.
Jake?
Her tone was instantly alert.
What is it? What's happened?
Sorry to disturb you. I thought you'd still be up. He glanced at the clock. It was 11:30, and a bit late for a social call.
I've only just gone to bed. Is there something wrong?
No, I just wanted to hear your voice. No, it's just I meant to ask you if you could come in a bit earlier tomorrow. I need to run through some figures with you for a new contract before my meeting at 6. Sorry, at 10. Could you make it for 8:30 again? He could quite easily do the figures himself, but it was the only excuse for calling her that he could think up on in the spur of the moment.
Yes, of course, I will. Good night, then.
He reluctantly put down the phone. Get yourself together, Jake, he told himself. You don't need the hassle. Let her go. Okay, Emma said in the pub the next evening, as she and Kendall carried their drinks, white wine and lemonade for Kendall, wine and soda for Emma, over to a table. I want all the juicy details. Really, Emma? Kendall raised an eyebrow teasingly. I told you it was a business trip. Then why did you stay over there for the weekend, instead of coming back home on Friday, like you'd planned? Jake suggested we stay over and do a bit of sightseeing. Kendall picked up the menu and made a great play of reading it. What do you fancy to eat? Never mind that! Emma took the menu from her. Look me in the eyes and tell me that you haven't fallen for him. Kendall's cheeks turned red. I knew it! Emma was triumphant. Anyone at Tanya and Yu's party could see that you two were interested in each other. But what went wrong? Why are you moving to Spain? Nothing went wrong. Memories of Jake kissing her and holding her in his arms flitted across her mind. It all went so right, she thought. I'm going because I found a lovely little finger within my price range, with a workshop where I can make my jewellery. It's what I've wanted for ages, Emma. You know that. I can't let this opportunity go by. I wouldn't have thought that you could let a guy like Jake go by, Emma told her. He's gorgeous, and more to the point, you're mad about him. I am not. You are, and you know it. Emma looked at her speculatively. That's why you're moving to Spain, isn't it? You're running scared, because for the first time in your life, you've found a guy you really care about. Kendall bit her lip as the truth of Emma's words hit home. She was right. She was scared of her feelings for Jake. Maybe, she agreed reluctantly. But he doesn't care about me, or he'd have asked me to stay. He cares about you, all right. Anyone could see the spark between the pair of you. But he won't ask you to stay because he likes you. Sorry, he's like you. Frightened of commitment. He's running scared too. Okay, I admit that we're attracted to each other, but I'm not messing up my life for physical attraction. I've got a chance to follow my dream, and I'm going for it. Even if it means breaking your heart? Emma asked. Don't be so melodramatic, Kendall replied. Jake's a good-looking guy, and is great company, but I'm not in love with him. Aren't you? Emma raised an eyebrow. Then why are you in such a hurry to get away from him? Yes. Emma's words played on Kendall's mind all evening, but it wasn't until she walked into the office the next morning, and her heart leapt at the sight of Jake sitting at his desk working, that she realised that Emma wasn't right. She was in love with him. The realisation shocked her so much she couldn't move. She stood in the doorway of her office, staring at him blankly, whilst the words, "I love him," spun round and round in her mind. As if sensing her presence, he looked up and smiled at her. Almost as if she was in a dream, she watched him get up from his desk, walk out of his office, and over to her. "Are you all right, Kendall?" he asked softly. The concern in his eyes shook her. These are the concerned eyes, by the way. Oh, yes. That's good film technique right there, Jack. Love it. That might spoil the moment a bit. Wait. Yes. Realizing shocking. The concern in his eyes shook her. Was Emma right about him too? Did he love her? She took a deep breath and forced herself to smile casually back at him. Casual smile. Nailed that one. "I'm fine, thanks. Just a bit groggy. I met Emma after work last night, and we stayed up late, chatting." "Would you like a coffee before we start the paperwork?" he asked her. "Oh, you know my weakness for caffeine," she quipped. As she watched him walk over to the coffee machine, she was so aware of him, of her feelings for him, that she felt suffocated and could hardly breathe.
"Do you mind if I open a window?"
she asked. "Feel free." He came back with two cups of coffee and handed her one of them. "Did you contact the employment agencies yesterday and arrange interviews for a replacement secretary?" "Yes, I've got a few interviews booked for later this week. I've marked them in your diary. I presumed you'd want to do the interviews yourself?" "Yeah, I would." His eyes met hers. "Now, if you've come through to my office, if you would come through to my office, that is, we'll get on with some work." He turned and walked away, leaving her to follow him. Well, Emma wasn't completely right, Kendall thought dismally. She might be in love with Jake, but he certainly wasn't in love with her. If he was, then he wouldn't be so casual about her leaving to live in another country. He'd be begging her to stay. He gestured for her to sit down in the chair on the other side of his desk and passed her a file. "Here are all the notes in a draft document. I've made a few alterations to our standard contract, as you can see. Read it through and let me know what you think." She glanced at the name on the cover of the file. "You're working with Morgan Darcy, the jewellers?" "Yeah, Stella Morgan's a friend of mine. They're looking to update all their computers and want the latest software, so Stella's asked me to give them a quote." That brought her down to earth with a bang. Dramatic, love it. She thought, why on earth would a high-flying millionaire businessman like Jake, a high-flying millionaire businessman like Jake, be in love with someone like her, when he could have his own pick of all the elegant, beautiful, and much more socially elevated women, like Stella Morgan, who flitted around his high society world? I've lost my high society reading voice, I've just realised. Get real, she told herself. Men like Jake look on women like you as a pleasant distraction, not as potential wives. Here ends the reading for today. We'll probably continue this at a later time. Who knows? There's a lot to get through. This is halfway through this chapter, by the way. I'm just yammering on to finish the video.